The girl suddenly realized in fear that the pin on the ground might not be ordinary. When she touched it lightly, she seemed to enter another world. She couldn't believe it, so she picked up the pin. The strange world appeared again. Now she stood in the middle of a wheat field. Everything felt real. The sunlight on her skin, the scent of wheat in the air. Casey could sense it all clearly. In the distance, there was a dreamy, futuristic city. Casey tried to walk toward it, but the next second, she hit a wall. The pin fell from her hand. She returned to the real world. As Casey stood there confused, someone nearby asked why she walked into a wall. It turned out she hadn't crossed over. She had only become aware of that world. She quickly picked up the pin, wrapping it in a candy wrapper. The other world didn't appear this time. It seemed direct contact was required to trigger it. Her father noticed her careful movement and asked why she was treating a pin like that. Casey wanted him to experience it too, but strangely, he felt nothing when he touched the pin. Casey didn't believe it. She touched the pin herself. The world reappeared. She shouted out what she saw, but her father got angry and grabbed the pin. He thought Casey was acting like she was on drugs. Casey had no way to explain. To figure out the truth, she waited until her father was asleep that night. Then she secretly took the pin and went outside. This time she decided to enter the futuristic city. She touched the pin to confirm her position. Then she started riding toward the city. She came to a vast field. Feeling she was close, she touched the pin again. As expected, this time she successfully entered the futuristic city. Everything was surreal. Things that only existed in imagination had become reality here. Casey looked around nonstop. While she was immersed in the sights, she noticed her steps were getting heavy. She looked down and saw her body sinking into the water. Normally, she shouldn't be able to see the real world surroundings. She quickly took out the pin. It was losing power. She had forgotten to ask questions about it. She looked around for someone to ask, but it was too late. The countdown ended. She was pulled back to the real world. To find answers, she searched online for information about the pin. Surprisingly, she found a clue. The pin was a space-themed souvenir from the 1964 World's Fair. Only one store in Texas still had them in stock. The store only listed an address. Casey decided to go there in person. She told her younger brother to cover for her. Then she left the next day. But that morning, a girl came looking for Casey. The brother gave the prepared excuse, but the girl immediately saw through it. He had no choice but to tell the truth. When the girl learned where Casey had gone, she was shocked. Meanwhile, Casey arrived at the store. To her surprise, the owners knew about the pin's function. They also knew how to recharge it. But first, they asked Casey who had given her the pin. Casey said she had found it. The couple insisted that was impossible. They said it had to be a girl who gave it to her. Then they pressed a hidden switch. Casey sensed something was wrong. She turned to leave, but the couple suddenly pulled out guns.
This is a joke, right?